Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below. And welcome to Apex Online Racing. This is season 20 of Xbox One F1 and we are at round number 17 at the Sochi Autodrome for the Russian Grand Prix. My name is Jess, your commentator. Apologies about the slight delay. The first stream had internet issues. We had to reset the router. Luckily, it's reset itself and it's all good. One of the disadvantages though, we missed qualifying, which is annoying because usually I have loads of time to discuss what's happened throughout this and talk about predictions and stuff like that, but I'm not going to get around to that today. The first F1 race was held in 2014 with Lewis Hamilton winning the first race, and Valtteri Bottas actually won the last one back in 2020. So we're going to see a few people coming across the line, and I've got to say quite a few people have probably invalidated their lap times already, as I'm trying to go on board with some drivers, but it's not letting me at the moment. It may mean that the lobby's glitched, which hopefully not. So Humberdinck's coming across the line now to finish his lap as well. He's running out of fuel, so he might go into the pit. No, he's not going into the pit lane. He's coming across the final corner. Now there's a bit of a slide from him. So that's going to be it for him for qualifying. Ruben comes across the line in 6th position. So that's going to be his qualifying done. And it is Lefted who takes pole position. It's not his first pole position of the season as well, and he's been looking very impressive all season. The one that can actually potentially close in on this championship, so very, very exciting to see. Apologies that we didn't actually get a hot lap around here. Maybe I'll try and get a hot lap maybe during the race, but that's probably not going to happen because they're not actually pushing on laps. But there we go. So your qualifying results then, Lefted on par with a 1:29.3, which is pretty good. Bobbert in second with a 1:29.7. Third is Tom with a 1:29.8. And we got Humberdinck in 4th, Jonah in 5th, Ruben in 6th position. Then we've got Otis in 7th, Daegu 8th, LGS 9th, and Sora rounds up your top 10. Then we got Alfio, Squishy Panda, GC, and Jamie bringing up the rear as well in last place. So the bottom 4, they get to start on whatever tyre that they want to. And I don't have a clue what the weather's going to be like, so it should be intriguing to say the least. This track is actually situated by the Black Sea, so you can imagine it does get pretty cold as well. And that is why also in 2014, or roughly near then, it also hosted the Winter Olympics as well. So you could just about see the stadium section as well around the track. So that is interesting as well. So before we get into the race, let's go have a quick look at your Jammajit standings, which I was going to go through earlier on before my internet decided to die. So apologies about that. So the standings are as follows. Roberts is leading the championship on 211 points, with Lefted in second with 195 points. Humberdinck in third, 191 points. 4th place is Tom with 150 points. 5th place is Jonah with 148 points. 6th place is Hawk with 137. Squishy Panda in 8th with 107. 9th is Alex Daegu with 73. 10th is LGS with 72. And we got Alfio 11th on 60. 12th is Jam Pancakes with 49. GC in 13th with 13 points. And then we got John on 10. Ruben on 6. Jamie on 5. Boys Without Box on 4. Oats in, with 2. And then Tazala and Diagro yet to score. So let's have a look at this beautiful track as well, because I know some of you missed it in the last stream. So the Sochi Autodrome is 5.848 kilometre circuit, and it has 18 turns, 6 to the left, 12 to the right, and it has 2 DRS zones for overtaking, one between turn 1 and 2, and one between turn 10 and turn 12, both quite long straights there. So as you can see, the tyres that they started on does not really matter because it's absolutely chucking it down here. Well, it's not really chucking it down. It's intermediate weather. And Russia is always a track I tend to commentate on in AOR where it has a little bit of a wet weather effectiveness. So maybe the curse I brought to this tier, but, you know, again, I do apologise about that. So thank you to those of you that have just joined us, and luckily the internet's stable now, so yay. So that's good news. But anyway, we're going to look through the tyres outside the top. Interestingly, though, even though it's wet, it's on dry tyres. Now, we've seen it in a few tiers, in the top tiers in AOR before where it has happened as well. And I was a bit intrigued by this, about why it happened. It also happened to me once around Canada where it started like this. It started wet, it was raining like this, and it went to dry tyres completely. So the top 10 now be starting on softs. Probably regretted themselves doing that, because it's going to be probably a soft two-stop race by the way this is going. Alfio's on the softs as well. Squishy Panda, she's on the hards. GC's on the mediums, and Jamie's on the softs. So only 2 people not deciding to go onto the soft tyres. And this is not the best track for the alternate strategy, but the ones who do the alternate strategy are usually the ones that are good in terms of race pace and tend to do well. Will we see the same tonight? We've seen many tracks in AOR where we've come across that, so we'll have to find out. We did see rain pouring out on the camera lens, so there we go. So let us know your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to win the race. And I'm going to be deleting the last video that happened, because obviously we don't want to see the technical issues. So I'm going to be deleting that video, if it'll let me, that is, as we're just waiting for the drivers to make their way on to the grid. Then the 5 red lights will be coming on very, very soon to start this 27-lap race. Be aware of the penalties around Sochi. If you don't get penalties around this track, you will be rewarded here with some good points, just like we've seen last time about as well. So here we go then. The 5 red lights are about to come on your screens at the moment. It's going to be a long hold, actually, so hopefully this lobby could get together very, very soon. Here we go. The 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights are on. And it is lights out, and away we go. And it's a good start from Lefted in the Red Bull. Also a very good start from Bobbers. He's not usually the best track to start from pole position, and Lefted is proving that he hasn't had the best of starts going into turn 2, whereas Bobbert has had a fantastic start. Lefted is trying to come back from Humperdinck into turn 2, and he does it with ease, but they touch each other as well. A lot of people are struggling. There's a lot of end plates missing from some of the drivers as well. Turn 3 is going to be really, really tricky in these conditions as Humperdinck and Lefted go side by side. Lefted goes into 2nd place. Degu also having a very good start as well, up into 4th place. And yes, Lefted does need to change his name because he's not in VSR anymore. But yeah, I don't know why he hasn't. Probably because we have to pay like £8 or something to change names, but probably having a better gamer tab for that. But anyway, Ruben's having a great start as well in 5th position. Jamie is, I think Jamie started in 13th, I believe, so he's maintained position, which is great to see. But again, he's struggling as well. LGS is swerving all over the place. You know, these drivers are not liking these conditions whatsoever as they head towards the very treacherous turn 11 and 12. As you can see as well, Otis gets past as well. And I've got to say, I've watched Otis in the wet conditions. He is quick. So here's a driver that I'm going to keep an eye on. And unfortunately, I just given a commentator's curse to Zach there. So do apologise about that. But he's going to try and go side by side with Alfio going into this tight little chicane. And I think he's going to hold on as Otis has spun there, which is a bit of a shame, but that's the yellow flag is for at the moment. So he's dropped all the way down into 14th place. We've got Jonah and Ruben going side by side, heading towards the final corner there as well. DRS enabled. Well, it's not enabled, it's just the timing glitch happening there, unfortunately. So hopefully, again, that gets fixed as well. So you're going to get confused with the DRS saying it's enabled, but it's not. So, yeah, we got Squishy Panda going into the pit, so she must have had some trouble at the start of the lap, and she's going on inters. So she's taking the gamble. She thinks going on inters could be the best, but I still don't think it's wet enough for the inters yet, or if not at all. And the drivers have said in the chat that it's going to be like this for pretty much the whole race. I wonder if it's going to get worse before it gets better at this stage right now. And Luke was saying in the chat he's actually driven a whole race in these conditions. Well, he had to be on dry tyres. I can't imagine how it would be like for a whole race. Luckily, it wasn't for the whole race for me around Canada. It was for like 5-6 laps before it was either drying up or it was on inters again. So, you know, it must be difficult for these drivers. So Bobberts leads then, and Bobberts is usually good for the wet in the wet conditions. I think he was praying for the rain dance to actually come, and he's proven fact that he's doing well at the moment. The gap now is around about 0.2 of a second. Now the soft tyres can last about 15 laps, but in these conditions I would imagine that the softs will last a bit later than that due to the air temperature, the track temperature and the tyre temperature being cooler than usual, unless the conditions get worse, of course, as well. And the gaps, I think, between first, second, third and fourth, they're around about 2 seconds each. Between Sora and Daegu, they're around about 3.7 seconds. The only person that Jonah could actually potentially go for a move here, because the DRS is actually enabled. He's activated it very, very quickly there. Is he going to get to the right-hand side into turn 2? He's going to have a look at least, but he doesn't. He's got enough ERS to use, though, so maybe try and use the little king. And there we see Sora doing almost what Raymond Grosjean did in Russia last year as well. I almost said this year, but it is 2021, of course, as Sora is actually trying to pull away from Jonah. One of the new drivers in this tier, one of the reserves, I'm not entirely sure. OT has also decided to go on to the intermediate tyres. Again, the track is still bone dry, as with a few damp patches, so I don't see why they should go on the inters. I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, GC is trying to defend from Tom. Tom is usually a top 3 candidate, but he's not doing so well at the moment, as he's trying to fight back from where he's left off at this stage. But again, he's finding these conditions difficult, and yes, it is getting worse at the moment, so you never know what might happen. And good lap pace is crucial, but keeping your laps consistent in the race is even more crucial, and you want to be consistent as much as you can. As Jonah gets past Ruben, as Ruben goes off the track there, he's lost a bit of time, and now Humperdinck has got past him as well, with Humperdinck and Alfio now having a little bit of a battle as well. I see a little bit of the sun peeking up, but it's mainly dark clouds at the moment. And I have to say, turns 15 and 16, I would have probably found a little bit more tricky in these conditions. And maybe as well, turn 3 and 4 and towards turn 7, 8 and 9. All the other bits of the track, I think I should be alright. And we're going to see how Squishy Panda and OTs do with these conditions on the inters. And is it going to be enough to stay in these intermediate conditions or not? So only one way to find out is we're going to go on board with them. So I'm just going to see right now at the moment how they're doing. Oat is not doing too bad at the moment. I think I'm going to call him Oat. It's either Oaties or Oats, but I think it's Oats. So I do apologise if I pronounce his name wrong. I always get his name wrong every time I commentate on him, but there we go. But he's not doing too bad, but let's see how he handles turn 2. Because he's quick in the rain, and if he struggles with turn 2 in the rain, then it means it's not quite enough. But you can see the raindrops are coming really quickly on the car. He has to go half throttle, really, or even 3/4 of a throttle to get past turn 3 and into turn 4. He's actually coping all right, so maybe it could be time for the inters. Or is it the crossover point? Is it enough for the softs or the inters? Maybe the ones on the mediums or the hards could start to struggle. I think Oates was the only one that I think that was struggling on the hards, so he had to pit, I think. But the ones on the softs are not doing too bad, as Ruben has got past Humperdinck again. Humperdinck's going to try and do the comeback at least. Going past turn 15 and 16, it's such a little bit. It probably might be a racing incident. We've got GC as well tucked in all of this. GC will be the one that's most struggling in this. And is he going to go for a send? Oh, he's pushed Ruben off the track there. That is not what you're meant to do at the moment. But he's trying his best, at least, to keep it on the track, as do a majority of these people. Humperdinck is probably going to have a look once again. Maybe Humperdinck may just stay put whilst GC goes for the move. Ruben tries to close the door, but that just does not work for GC. GC is up into 7. I'm surprised nobody's got any penalties yet, but I'm wondering if a few people are close to getting their first penalty, I wonder. So that is something I'll probably check in a second for you. So I will keep a close eye on that very, very soon. As I don't think Otis and Squishy Panda are gaining much on the rest of the field. So maybe they pitted on the inters extremely early. And we have to find out when these guys pit. Will they go on inters, or will they go onto the hard tyres, or will they do a 2-stop? We don't know. We don't know. Who knows? It may be a safety car. Soft last 15 laps. So, soft to mediums or soft to hards? Probably soft to mediums in these conditions, I would say. As saying about penalties, GC has picked himself his first one. So, commentator's curse, unfortunately, has struck again. As LGS is staying past Tom. Is he going to get past Humperdinck? Maybe, potentially. Heading in towards turn 13 and 14. Not quite, I don't think. Meanwhile, Lefted has gone into the pits. So I wonder if he was struggling for grip there. And is he going to be the one that goes on the inters as well? So let's see then. Yes, he goes on the inters as well. So could this be a chance for other people to respond? I do see an Alfa Romeo coming into the pits as well. GC picks another one. Jonah comes in. We'll have to keep an eye on the bottom of our screens to see if the DRS line is disabled. And that'll be the cue for most people to pit. As Jonah's pit stop's taking well, so that's due to damage. What about the Haas car? The Haas car is pitting, and he's pitting for another set of inters. So Jonah, out of the ones who pit, is the only driver not to go onto inters. So if Jonah starts to struggle, then maybe it's a sign for everybody else thinks, right, I need to pit. Humperdinck now has just got past LGS. Humperdinck, don't forget, is chasing down Bobbitt and Lefted in the championship. Humperdinck's actually dropped down to 3rd in the championship. He's 4 points away from Lefted, but he's got 20 points. He's 20 points behind SSR Bobbitt, so he's currently leading at the moment. After Russia, we will have 5 more rounds to go. We've got Japan, USA, Mexico, Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi bringing up the rear there as well. So LGS then going, using his overtake at the moment. DRS wide open. I think he's gaining traction on exit, so this could be crucial for him. Heading in towards turn 13, the heavy braking zone, well, 12 and 13, as it were. And I think most of these guys are starting to get used to the conditions. I think what I've found in these conditions for me is the more that you use those tyres in these conditions, the better it gets for you. I usually behave better on much worn tyres compared to colder tyres on these softs. And the ones who haven't warmed their tyres up on the formation lap, that's probably why some of them were caught up to doing a little bit of a spin. And that's why probably Bobbitt is not struggling as much, because he warmed his tyres efficiently. I have to say, Daegu has surprised me at the moment. He's a little bit of a dark horse in this race. He's gained quite a lot of position. Let me just check the position changes. Started 8th. He's all the way up in 2nd. And he could be on course to get his best result in AOR. His best results were podiums. He got P3 in Australia, P3 in Spain, and a P3 in Monza. So he could get one better and get a P2. He could be on course for a win, but he's 8.76 seconds behind our race leader. Meanwhile, Humperdinck again is battling with LGS, and also Jamie is joining in the fight as well. Sora has just picked up a time penalty as well. I think LGS has been caught a little bit off guard there at the moment. I think both of them have as well. Heading into past turn 8 and heading towards turn 9 and 10. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That is one of the Haas cars. And that is GC, I think, on the intermediate tyres. But let's see how LGS handles this battle then. to the kink of turn 11, then this is crucial for LGS to get this move right. To the left he goes. I wonder if Humperdinck's going to stay to the right. He does. Both of them sliding, actually, and Jamie is going to take advantage of that. Jamie's going to try and get Humperdinck, and if he gets this move, oh my goodness, that was very, very close from both of them, but I think Jamie's got one of the drivers. Left is in this as well. Don't get lefted. Did he pit for Inters? Yeah, he did. And lefted is ahead of Humperdinck, so that could be the sign. You never know. This is definitely the crossover point where it's good for any tyre. And the intermediate tyres, they do last the same time as the mediums, which is around 22 laps. So it could last for the whole race for majority of these drop for lefted anyway, because he just pitted. So lefted goes around the inside he goes, and lefted is up to P7. So as long as he can make his tyres last, he could work absolutely perfectly. And he's got to try and find 1.2 seconds on LGS now, which should be easy for him if LGS is struggling. But again, LGS is not doing too bad. You never know. The conditions could dry up, or it could get worse before it gets better. We don't know. That's the good thing about this strategy. You never know what's the best tyre to go on to. The top three are pretty much in a race of their own at the moment. They've got gaps of their own. And then we got Sora and Ruben having their own little race as well. And then we got everybody else who is trying to fight for position. And Lefty having a little bit of a slide there as well. Lefty still has DRS. So still not quite enough to say DRS disabled. But it's getting a little bit more overcast and harder to see at the moment. So never say never. Don't forget these guys are running no assist. So finding control in the car is going to be very tricky. But these are the best of the best in Xbox One. They are trying to do their best. They want to succeed as much as they possibly can. So we're heading towards lap 10 very, very soon. Well, we're just heading towards lap 9 actually as well. I'll give you a rundown of the order as I quickly take a sip of my drink. So Bobbert leads then from Daegu in second, Alfio in third, Sora in fourth, Ruben in fifth, and here comes Lefted then. This may be the difference of the tyres that we were talking about, or it might be due to the delta, because don't forget, the crossover point is coming soon between if they were going on softs and medium, so that's probably why as well. Maybe the softs are starting to die out as well. So Left is up into 6th position, and his next job is to try and get Ruben 5.1 seconds. And if Lefty starts to catch up by quite a bit, then something must be wrong by some of the soft runners. But some of them are just trying to hold on. They want to keep their car not in the blue lines and not in the barriers. And it is technically a street circuit. I don't call it a street circuit, but technically it is. I like racing around Russia, in a way, but I'm not usually good at 1 lap pace. As Jonah gets a 3-second time penalty as well. One of the ones near the back as well. He's on the mediums. So I can understand why he's struggling, because you don't want to be on a harder tyre in these conditions. You definitely do not. You would want to be on the softs. So the ones that were on the mediums and the hards at the start of the race have probably shot themselves in the foot. If I was Jonah, go on to Inters. It won't be too bad. Or maybe go on to the softer compound of the tyre, and you should do your best and maybe try and do a 2-stop, because I don't think a 1-stop for Jonah is going to work, even though he's trying his best. And yeah, you can see Lefted has set the fastest lap on the Inters, and that's helped Jamie quite a lot there, as Jamie is going in to the pit as well. So what tyre is he going to go on? He's also going on to the intermediate tyres. So he's going to probably, I think Tom's going to probably potentially get ahead of him, most likely at least. And I think he does by quite some margin. And maybe GC could get ahead of him as well. I don't know. It's going to be a close fight, so let's watch GC. Jamie's ahead of him by 6.4 seconds. So there we go then. So I think most of these guys who are on the softs are probably trying to make it a one stop at the moment by the way that they're keeping it calm. They're not pushing it too much. They're not going overly aggressive, because if they go overly aggressive in these conditions, then they'll probably end up in the wall. So Bobbert's trying to do well. He's still pushing though. So Bobberts comes in. As Bobbert's decided he's going to go onto the inters as well. Now watch out for the pit lane. I usually get caught up with the pit lane entry there, because usually I tend to get speeding in the pit lane penalties. So Bobberts, what tyre does he go on? Is it inters for him? Yes, it is. Daegu stays out. So does Alfio. Does Soro come into the pits? Yes, he does. Leftwood obviously stays out because he has just pitted a few laps ago. Ruben comes in. LGS stays out. So quite a mixed bag at the moment. All that's left is to check what Humperdinck's doing. Humperdinck's staying out too. So some people are thinking, yes, the Inters is the best tyre. And some people are thinking, dries are the best tyre. What would you do if you were one of the drivers? Just let us know in chat. What would you... Because for me, I would do maybe soft and then potentially go on into the end. Because you want to be on the softest tyre. You wouldn't want to be on the hards at all. I don't think you would want to touch the hards. So it's quite a tall order for some of these drivers. But, you know, for most of these guys, they've got to go with their gut feeling. And some people's gut feeling is going on to the inters, but some of them is staying on the softs as much as they can. Jonah was the only one, obviously, that was on the mediums, but he's trying his best to make it last as well. And Lefted is already up into 4th place. And he's already 2.9 seconds behind Bobbert. Is he going to do all he can to try and overtake him once again? He had a struggle start due to the fact that he was on the softs earlier. He wasn't a big fan of the softs compared to the inters. And there's some loads of skin marks on the track, so you can see where a lot of these drivers went off. To be honest, I probably would have went off a lot more than these drivers, to be honest. But I run mostly assist, and I'm not as fast as them. So that's probably why as well, as we're almost halfway into this Grand Prix. And Alfio and Alex Daegu decided that enough's enough. They're going on to the inters as well, I believe. So let's see. Alex Daegu goes on the inters. And what about Alfio? Does he go on the inters too? Yes, he does. So I think if nobody... LGS has probably made the biggest mistake of his life because he's not pitting. And he's probably seen that everyone else has gone into the pits as well. And he's thought, uh-oh, I'm going to probably be in huge trouble here. And you can see puddles on the... just on the edge of the track starting to form. So if that's no visual clue or anything, I don't know what is. So... and you can see Alex Daegu is catching. And so is Squishy Panda as well. So Humperdinck goes in as well. Humperdinck's going on the mediums. That's interesting. So he's not opted for the inters. As Jonah's opted for the inters as well. So Humperdinck is the role started to reverse. To be honest, for the bottom half of the grid, I don't have a clue what's going on and why they're choosing the tyres they are. But they're probably going to see people at the front on the inter and they're going to think, you know. Because sometimes strategic decisions may decide a race, like what happened to me on Friday in Abu Dhabi, where a strategical decision for myself costed me a chance of getting points, which was a bit of a shame, but, you know, it happens. So Bobbert still leads then. Lefted has lost a bit of time to Bobbert. He's around about 2 seconds behind. Now he's about 4.2. So maybe Bobbert is managing those fresh inters more than Lefted's much worn inters. And I wonder if Daly's going to catch up to Lefted as well. Squishy Panda's not doing too bad. And LGS, yeah. I was a bit worried why LGS is not coming into the pits. I wonder if he's going to be doing exactly the same thing to what Humperdinck's going to be doing. What tyres is it going to be this time? It is inters. So he's going to drop massively, I think. Because obviously his teammate's already ahead of him, obviously. Sora's ahead of him. So is Ruben as well. Meanwhile, we got an interesting battle happening between Sora and Ruben, going side by side. Here comes Ruben into turn 2, going to the right-hand side. Oh, that was a bit of too risky move. Sometimes you go for a move for the inside there, and if you just close the door, sometimes you just sometimes get a bit hasty sometimes. And usually when I go for a move on the inside there, I usually one that ends up spinning. So sometimes you gotta take risks, and Ruben took that risk and that did not pay off for him. And that's allowing Sora to pull away by quite some margin now. Almost a second. I do believe DRS is still enabled. So Ruben has got to try and get into that detection zone ASAP really. And there's less sunny moments now, more dark clouds at the moment. So let's see what happens with the DRS then. As Ruben is struggling with the gear shift by the looks of things, but he's still keeping calm, keeping collected. Or is he feeling a bit tense? Obviously, he wants to try and score as many points as he can. He wasn't here last week, but he's back this week, and he's showing that why he is one of the best drivers that got moved up from Tier 2 into Tier 1, because that's what happened a few weeks ago to try and get the numbers up. Here comes Squishy Panda into the pits then. Her intermediate tyres is probably getting a bit too worn, so is she going to go on another set? She does. She does go on another set, so will that prompt Lefted to come in earlier than needed? Or does Lefted not care about Squishy Panda's intermediate tyres? So Lefted has probably got to maybe improve on his tyre management, seeing that the gap between him and Bobberts has increased a bit more. And if he doesn't want to pit, he's got to keep it in good nick for another 10, probably 13 or 14 laps or so. Which is going to be a tall order, I have to say, but in these conditions, anything can happen. We got some more battles happening near the midfield. We got Tom versus Otis. Otis somehow has made his way up to 5th place, and to be honest, despite his troubles at the start of the race, he's doing a pretty good job. But he's got the prancing Tom, who's currently 4th in the championship. He was, I believe, he's been 3rd for some of the season, but he did get dropped down to 4th after Lefted's impressive performance in the past couple of races. The only poor performance he had Lefted was P11 in Monza due to the penalties he had. So you can see then, is Otis pitting? Yes, he is pitting as well. So Otis is probably responding to Squishy Panda then. Who else is pitting as well? That's the question. Alfio's doing the same. I'm intrigued why Alfio's doing the same, because he's been on those intermediate tyres for 2 laps now. And he's going on softs. I wonder if he was meant to do that. We're going to follow him as he comes out of the pits, because I can't imagine. But maybe it won't be too bad, because we did see the difference between the softs and the between Bobbers and the other intermediate drivers, and it wasn't that much. So if Alfio can pull it off, then it'll be really good. So let's see how he approaches turn 1. Not too bad, actually. A little bit of a slide there. You can tell the track is a bit more slippery, so you might have made a little bit of a mistake. Yeah, turn 3 is already very, very tricky. So maybe Alfio is thinking, I shouldn't have gone those softs. But, you know, sometimes you have to take risks. Sometimes you have to take quite a few gambles in league racing. Only 4 drivers getting penalties at the moment. We do have a yellow flag. And now it's a Mercedes driver, and that's Humperdinck on the Inters. So will that signify Humperdinck's trip to the pits again? He's probably got a bit of damage. Not as much though as I thought. Or he might have just gone for... Maybe he's probably gone for a little bit of a spinala there. But that means his medium tyres is not going to be good already. So he's got a lot of work to do with 12 laps to go of this race. Which has gone pretty quickly, I've got to say, but these drivers are giving it their absolute all at the moment. As Tom and Ruben goes into the pits on a fresh set. Well, Tom is going on fresh inters. Ruben, is it damage for Ruben? So maybe Ruben got caught up in an incident, which we might have missed. So let's see. Softs as well, so maybe the track is drying up. Maybe he saw what Alfio did and probably going to do the same. What about Tom? Tom goes on inters too. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm going to ride on board with Tom a second as he comes out as well. Is the track dry enough for softs? It's raining less than it was, but it's a bit hard to tell at the moment because usually when it's a wet to dry race, you can obviously tell to the DRS enable sign. For this type of race, you've got to go for your gut instinct, and strategy, like I said earlier, could play a key factor into this race. So I just hope these drivers don't make any mistakes, because otherwise it could be game over. No driver has retired so far, and I've got to say I've been impressed by that. They're keeping it on the right lines, as Bobbitt has set the fastest lap of the race so far. And Bobbitt is looking on course to be taking another victory. His last win was in Italy. He's got 4 wins so far this season, the most out of any driver, joint with Hawk. But he could be the one to break their own record and be the first person to get to 5 wins this season. But don't forget, the race is not over until the checkered flag falls. Not much battle is happening, but my question, which is probably going to remain on anybody's mind, is the softs the best decision, or are they going to be regretting it for the rest of their life? If they make the best decision, then it could work out in their favour and they could possibly get a podium out of all of this. If it's not the best decision, then they're probably, you know, because you can see Ruben's fastest lap was a 2:03 on the softs, 1:44.1 for Bobbitt. So that's saying something. Let me check Alfio's actually as well, even though he probably might have gone for a spin. So Alfio in 10th on the softs. His last lap was a 1:46.6. So he's matching up to Bobbitt's a little bit. But Bobbitt's obviously 2 seconds quicker. So in a way, it's not much of a difference. So you pretty much got to get used to the tyre that you're on. My advice to these drivers now, just go for a tyre that you're comfortable with. If you're more comfortable on the inters, go on the inters. If you're more comfortable on the softs, go on the softs. It is as simple as that. And you can see this could have huge effects on this championship as well. Lefted comes into the pits, so those inters are not holding on then. He is going on to another set of the intermediates as well. So the top lot are not budging in terms of what tyres they go on for. So I might do the same thing and come into the pits. Nope, he is not. I think Left is going to come out ahead, only just. But you have to wait and see. GC gets a time penalty. Yep, Lefted does come out ahead. So Lefted is back where he started in 3rd. So obviously Daegu pitted earlier on as well. So the undercut for Bobbitt and Daegu worked perfectly, whereas Left is staying out a bit longer on the inters when he pitted earlier has probably hindered him more than most. He had to also make an extra pit stop. He could have, well, to be honest, he may have probably dropped Ray down the order if Left may have dropped Ray down the order if he was on the softs anyway. So, but, you know, if he didn't struggle on the softs as much, he probably could have been up there with Bobbitt and Daegu and have a little bit of a battle. So but anyway, look at the gap between 1st and 2nd. 18 seconds. This is probably going to be one of the most dominant victories we've seen in AOR for pretty much a long time. And I'm not even kidding at the moment, the way Bobbitt is performing. Dager is dominating over Lefted as well. But he's pitting. Ooh. That's a bit early. If he is pitting. Unless he pit damage. We'll have to wait and see. Now, see either good news or bad news for Bobbers. I don't have a clue. But Bobbers is about to lap Humperdinck. So, Daegu then. Is it soft tyres? Yes, it is softs. So I thought the people at the front are going to be on the same tyres, but no. They're going to be on completely different tyres. My oh my. This has changed the game massively. And I'm absolutely loving this, so I can't wait to see how this race unfolds until the end of this race. This is going to be pretty much a race of attrition, to be honest, between the ones on the softs and the ones on the intermediate tyres. So, LGS is also on the softs. It is quite hard to tell. I am a bit confused, as you are probably in the chat, about what tyres is best to go on right now. So, it may have to come down, because maybe the setup is more geared to mixed conditions, so that's probably why they could also go on whatever tyre that they want to. But with 8 laps to go, anything can happen. Roberts goes into the pits as well, and he goes on softs. As Lefty made a mistake by staying on the inters and not going on softs. I don't know. I really don't know at this point. You know, this is probably it's kind of like a game of chess in a way, deciding, should I go left or right or something like that. It's kind of like a mixed bag here, but we're starting to see more unevenly spread field now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on the softs. Squishy Panda comes in as well. Been on those inters for 5 laps. Seems to be struggling a little bit. And she's probably going to go... How did GT get a 10-second time penalty and he's retired? I was hoping to get no retirements from the race, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. Squishy Panda goes on the softs as well. So, Jonah stays out on the inters. And there's a safety car. That has come out in good timing for Squishy Panda. Because she's going to be on fresher tyres compared to everybody else. And it's going to meet the leader very, very soon. So, Lefted is... Will Lefted decide that he needs to pit and go onto the softs, or will he stay on inters? Will Sora do the same? And Jamie, Tom and Otis have also potentially been given a lifeline as well. And I had something in my mind in terms of predictions, because again, I was going to go through predictions before the stream died earlier on, but I think there was going to be a safety car, and there is, and I was very, very surprised that there was no safety car. So, truth be told, there is one. And this could be a very spicy end to the race. No DRS for quite a while. Alfio's retired as well. So we lost 2 drivers from all this. So let's see where Alfio's binned it then. We've just gone past him. I'm just trying to see where he's binned it, but it's really, really hard. So Lefty comes in. Well, it was inevitable for Lefty, to be honest. And I think Sora's going to be doing the same. Daegu stays out, obviously, because he's on softs. I think most people are potentially going to be going on softs at this point. Because the pit lane loss is definitely a lot different in safety car conditions compared to, obviously, full race conditions. And it's pretty much, the order's going to pretty much be the same. Everyone's going to be allowed to have a chance to catch up. Usually it's within 3 laps, but sometimes it's a bit longer if not many people can catch up. But if people are not caught up by the 3rd lap, then pretty much it's game over. So, everyone's now on the soft tyres. There's no ifs, ands or buts here. They realise that the softs and the inters are equal tyre. And pretty much soft has the most grip, so that's probably why. I've never experienced this in ages. The last time I experienced a full race like this was an F1 2019 race around Hungary. And when I went into the session and saw it was raining, I was like, yeah, it's definitely inters. It just can't not be. But things in this race has definitely turned on its head. And we thought the inters were going to last longer due to the track temps, but no, it was overheating like no tomorrow. The soft lasts a fortune on this track, and with these decreased tyre temps and track temps, and it is going to last a bit longer. So, let's run for your order then, as Bobberts leads from Dager in second, Lefted third, Sora fourth, Squishy Panda in fifth, Jamie sixth, LGS seventh, Tom in eighth, Otis in ninth, and then we got Ruben in 10th position, and then we got Jonah and Humperdinck. So there's more of a chance to score a point here. So it's very important for these drivers just to not give up. If they give up, then they're probably going to be an absolute mess at the moment. So again, we'll have to be aware of that. And it's probably going to be taking a while. So I think most people are going through set to 1 now. So it's probably going to be in either this lap or next lap. Bobberts is used to this. Bobberts is used to controlling the safety car after it comes in. So he should be a man on a mission here at the moment. He's got to not mess up, basically. And due to the fact that it is colder, it's very essential for people to warm up their tyres. I made a mistake in these conditions when there was a safety car. I didn't warm up my tyres. And guess what? I spun. So we don't want people just to make the same mistake, please. So thank you guys for those of you that are still watching the stream at the moment. We hope you're enjoying so far. Don't forget, check out the PS4 stream that happened earlier on as well as the PC stream that's going on at the moment. You can check both of these out after this stream. And if you're liking the content at AOR, don't forget to click subscribe and turn notifications on so you know when the next stream of AOR goes up. The next stream is tomorrow at, I believe it's 7:30. I need to double check the time, but it's ACC Tier 1, the GT3 series. I did watch a bit of that back last week and it was really good actually, so make sure you give that a watch tomorrow. It had quite a lot of people signing up for it, and I believe there's 7 tiers for that. I might be wrong, but I need to double check that. But yeah, check that out tomorrow around about 7:30-ish. Or it might be 8, I don't know. Or it might be 7. If someone that knows, can you just tell me in the chat? And it looks like the safety car is going in for one more lap. So it is going to be pretty much, because obviously if it comes in next lap, this lap, obviously they have lap 24, lap 25, and then they only have 2 laps of DRS racing. This should be interesting. Very intriguing as well, to say the least. And I don't think Humperdinck's going to catch up to the safety car. And I think probably Humperdinck has probably realised what mistake he has made due to him doing that. But it happens, he's learned from it, and he's probably, I'm just trying to look at the championship, because his next rival is Tom. He's only 8th at the moment in the race. So he's not going to lose by a huge chunk. So in a way, wherever he is, it's not going to be that bad. Because obviously it's a 41-point gap between him and Tom. So he's quite comfortable in third. The safety car's in. So yeah, Humperdinck's definitely not going to catch up unless he does a speedy lap. But Bobbers is already holding the field up. This is crucial for him as well. And we are waiting to see who is going to win this race. We don't know. Only 3 drivers have got penalties. The one who do have penalties, they are going to jump way down the order. And this gives the other people a chance to potentially get their first podium in top tier. So we're going to watch out for Bobbers then. The safety car in this lap was triggered quite a moment ago. So here we go then. Bobbers is starting to accelerate, and the most important thing is, as soon as Bobbers starts accelerating, you can't slow down. But you can't overtake until he gets to the start-finish line. Bobbers gets a launchy restart, he does. But what about everybody else? Everybody else staying in position. Otis also had a good restart as well. It's overtaken Tom up into PA. Jonah also having a good restart as well. Ruben having a poor restart as well. Down into 11th position. Humperdinck has just caught at the back of this. We got a bit of end plate damage, I think, from one of either the Alfa Romeo boys or one of the Haas cars. So that's probably taken to effect why some of these drivers are racing like that. Otis is in the chance of points now due to Jonah's penalty and him overtaking Rubens. Meanwhile, Lefted is trying to go for a send down. Massive send there from Lefted. Has put himself into second place, but due to the back, Bobbert's controlling that so perfectly, he's already pulled away a 2.4 second gap on his nearest rivals, which is crucial in the championship. So for Bobbert, he'll probably be very happy right now. But for Alex Daegu, he's probably been caught off guard once again. And saw one of the new drivers is trying to catch up, or it might be someone. Actually, I don't know. Actually, it could be someone who's probably changed their gamer tag. It may not be a new driver, so I do apologise if I got that wrong. But Saw is performing well. But Squishy Panda is having a little bit of a comeback. Both of these drivers, remember, do have time penalties. So that's going to drop them down to around about 6th, 7th. Unless the other guys don't gain as much as they did. So they got to keep pushing. They can't be stuck in this train for long. They're going to be in a DRS train soon. So DRS will be enabled in lap 26. So again, 2 more laps there. And the legend himself, CRG Lux in the chat, welcome. And he's predicting Lefty will win this race. He's 2.7 seconds down where Bobbers is, but he didn't get the best of restarts where Bobbers absolutely nailed it. So that's probably what has happened, and that's why Bobbers is actually doing better. And I wonder if Dagu's going to fight back. We'll see. If Lefty struggles and if Alex Dagu catches up, then we'll probably see why. And we're going to see the 2 Mercedes fighting now. This reminds me of Hamilton versus Bottas in Russia when they're fighting. Humperdinck gets past Otis. Otis struggling a little bit, but he's fighting back a little bit more, heading into turn 5. Then this is going to be insane if he makes it work, but he stays behind for now. Don't take too many risks at this point. I think mainly go for the overtakes around about the final 2 laps, because that's when the DRS has been activated. So Ruben's on the back of this as well, warming up his tyres. I think, oh, I did see a McLaren's, I thought I saw McLaren's end plate missing or something like that. So it's actually LGS, I wasn't wrong. LDS is dropping a few positions. And that's allowing everybody to overtake him. LGS was in a great position and now he's in last place. That is really, really sad at the moment. And I think LGS is probably going to get a move on and try to fight back. So I know he's a fighter at heart. Bobbert said the fastest lap of this race. So you can tell that the conditions are improving here. DRS enabled then. The only one that is going to have DRS is Squishy Panda on Sora. Tom on Jamie. Tom is going to go for the move. Here he comes. to the right-hand side, heading in towards turn 2, heading in towards the right apex. And he gets the job done. Tom up into 6th. He can potentially get 4th, but Jamie's going to probably get the switch back in turn 3, maybe. They're not going full throttle in turn 3 in these conditions. If you do, you'll probably get sent into a spin. But this fight could probably go on until the end of this race. Humperdinck, Otis, Jonah, they've all caught up. They're all going free. They were almost going free wide there. Heading into past turn. I can't remember what turn it was. It's a bit confusing to me at the moment, but this is shaping up, I've got to say, to be a very close ending as Jonah's lost a bit. Ruben's overtaken him. And I believe LGS is pitted due to damage. And in these conditions, if you lose your end plate, then you're in huge trouble. So that's probably what he's done. So chance for LGS to get some points is pretty much over, sadly. Which is a bit of a shame. But what can we say about majority of these guys? Squishy Panda has got to get a move on. Sora has got to get a move on. If Sora wants to get rid of that deficit, he's got to stay clear of Squishy Panda. But it's a lot harder than people think it is. Jonah's obviously 5/10 behind Ruben. It's starting to quieten down a little bit. So probably why with Tom trying to defend from Jamie and attack as well, that's probably why Tom's catching up. He can see the battle ahead of him. So Squishy Panda and Sora have probably given a wake-up call at the moment. They're thinking probably, uh-oh, I might need to get the move done now. And it is the final lap. Time does fly by when you're having fun. Heading into turn 4 they come now. Sora almost track extending just a little bit. I think he got away with that. I'm not going to get the penalties up. The black and white flags, don't forget, do suggest that, well, they are penalties. But they still want to give us a very good battle. Bobber's going into, just going into the sector, well, pretty much sector, the end of sector 2 now. And he's been driven phenomenally today. No one could touch him. He took the lead from the start, as Damon Hill did in Japan, and he pretty much stayed there. And we're going to ride on board with him for the final bit of the lap. So heading towards turn 15 and 16. This little back straight before the pit lane. And now heading towards turn 17. And heading into the final corner of turn 18. Coming across the line, Bobberts wins in Russia. Lefty comes across the line in second, but what about third position? Third goes to Alex Daegu. Tom's back in this. Tom could get 4th. He does get 4th. Jamie gets 5th. His best result in tier 1. That was very close, actually. Humperdinck gets 6th. Squishy Panda gets 7th. Oates gets 8th. Ruben gets 9th. And Sora claims that final point. And Jonah just missing out. And one McLaren doing very well at the top. And one McLaren not doing so well, being last of the finishers. So he's going to come across the line. And he's going to finish at least. And he's not going to retire. And he almost just about hits his teammate. If it was real life when they do that, then the team bosses would not be a happy bunny. But anyway, driver of the day does go to Jamie. To be honest, it does look like a little. It does look a little bit like Jamie actually. But there we go. As Bobbert celebrates his 5th win in AOR, well deserved. He extends his championship lead by quite a bit actually. And we got Daegu and Lefty joining him on the podium. Daegu got his best result in AOR. He got a DNF last week. He wasn't very happy with that. But I'm sure he's going to forget last week after what happened tonight. And he's showing never give up. Actually, he equals his best result because Lefty got 2nd. So we've got Bobberts lefted, Daegu, Tom, Jamie, Humperdinck, Squishy Panda, Oates, Ruben, then Sora. And then we got Jonah and LGS bringing up the rear. And then your Retirements are Alfio and GC. So that has been the Russian Grand Prix here at Apex Online Racing. We hope you enjoyed it. And next week we head to Japan for the Japanese Grand Prix. Should be a championship finale again, in my opinion. But, you know, in real life they don't want that. But, you know, it could happen in AOR in the future. AOR, guys, if you're listening, can you make Japan a finale at some point in one of the shorter seasons? Because that would be amazing, I've got to say. But anyway, so, looking at the standings, Bobbers gets 25 points. Yeah, he extends it by, I think, just a few points, actually. It was 16-point gap before this race, so very, very intense there. So, can Bobbers stay your championship leader in Japan next week? Can he be the one to beat next week? We'll have to find out. I've been Jess Games 95. Have a good evening, everybody, and we will see you next week for the Japanese Grand Prix. Goodbye.